So I've got a plan.
Yeah.
You know, we're gonna go. Eat.
How do I carve time to do this?
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's life is what happens while you're making other plans, though. Life isn't about the destination; it's about the journey. Life is what's happening right this moment, right this second. You know, this is part of your life. It's
Put it
you
on
don't
a
have
fucking poster.
Come on,
Give me
P-Flax,
something
you can't
good.
believe all that, right?
Don't trot out the same old platitudes. I want to hear something fresh from the mind of Lewis.
They are true, though.
Give me some life advice. How can I fix my shitty life?
You have a fantastic life, and you should be.
Flax.
You know,
life is like a box of chocolates. You never know when you're going to accidentally eat the coffee flavored one and feel actually physically sick to your stomach.
Nice.
Yeah.
See, that's the kind of shit, Lewis. Why can't you give me some advice like that?
Well, maybe I will, P-Flax. Maybe next time we meet up,
I want you to come up with a list.
We'll do like a heart-to-heart. We'll sit down. We'll go out for a nice romantic meal together.
We'll try to retain our masculinity by talking about football and eating sausages and stuff.
And then we'll end up just crying in each other's arms, just like saying how old we are and like how we've wasted our lives.
I don't think I've wasted my life. Not too much.
No,
anyway.
I don't think any of us have.
Not too much. Except for that time that you tried to write Happy Valentine's Day on your chest.
Hey, that was a success. Raul thought that was hilarious.
Yeah. Well, at least Raul liked it. That's pretty good.
Let's do Bodega, shall we? Have you got Bodega, P-Flax?
I do. This is a fucking weird Bodega.
I noticed that someone was giving us like advice on how to pronounce the parts. Numbers.
There's a big list. Yeah. Which one are we up to right now? Let me just consult the list and I'll tell you how to do it.
I've actually abandoned because I couldn't. I was worried about mispronouncing it, and this lady was super annoyed with the fact that, as I had stated very confidently each time, I do not speak Spanish, and I'm just giving it a bloody good go. So I'm not going to learn how to pronounce 15 in Spanish because
¿Por qué?
I'm not good enough.
Everyone in Spanish has just felt their
I'm sorry, your
whole world is collapsing around you. I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I'm so sorry.
A bodega, Park Quince. A small monochrome vidscreen flooded the darkness of the Disco Volante's lounge area with bouncing blue light, highlighting the different strata of the vast vape cloud settling in the breezeless space. Bodega was slumped on a sofa. He'd slid halfway down, his legs kicked out way in front of him. His back was beginning to ache from spending so long in this dumb position, but he was too drunk to move. On screen, a yellow jumpsuit-wearing moron was grinding his entire body up against a giant pair of foam buttocks. Behind the moron were more morons, grinding up against their own pairs of foam buttocks. They gyrated and grinded and daggered to the terrible synthy music, while this grade-A varmint hopped up about front, leering at Bodega. Ja, mit der fantastisch butt grinder available from Blatchkop for just 19 krells and 99 schmetz. You can get your body into shape, you flaving fat schlobhund. The tan Blatchman way is the only way. Don't be a Bodega. Get into shape with me, Tan Blatchman. Ah! Bodega barked, a single unintelligible yet furious sort of honking sound. Next week on the Blatchhour, we take a tour down memory lane where I will recount to you the many ways that my wife Majesta Blatchman pleases me sexually. Ha 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 ha! Brayed Blatchman as he rode an imaginary horse around the studio, whooping and slapping the air where the horse's flank would be. Who is the cowboy? Me! I ride the pony! Bodega always watched Tan Blatchman's Blatch Hour. He could not explain why he needed to see it week in, week out, but he did. He needed to see Blatchman, and he knew there would be references to Majesta and their relationship constantly. Tan loved bragging about his amazing, beautiful wife, even though she was actually destined to be Bodega's amazingly beautiful wife, and this was clearly just a mind control trick or some flaving dimensional portal thing or whatever. I'm gonna take a gigantic, scary shit, and the destination for that epic turd will be the dick hole of Tan Blatchman, slurred Bodega. Before finally his feet and legs gave way, and like a human mudslide, he slithered all the way down the sofa and finally came to rest on the floor, where he blacked out. He woke with a jump, hand flashing to his lasgun as he felt a cold metal hand on his neck. Just checking your pulse, said Varu, as Bodega relaxed. Ain't gone just yet, pard, groaned Bodega, shuffling into a sitting position. Fix me some scoffy, would you? They do have robot scoffy machines, but I am not one, said Varu, standing and striding to the bridge of the Disco Volante. Well, look, do you think? Bodega began, but he was cut off by a shrill and repetitive pinging sound coming from the bridge. Varu, what did you do? Shouted Bodega, standing and stumbling towards the sound. It's the proximity alert, said Nebish, who was, as always, on the bridge at his computer. We ain't moving, though, said Bodega. I would recommend checking the local sensors, said Nebish. We're cloaked, Neb. Ain't no way anyone can. And yet again, Bodega was interrupted in mid-sentence as the ship suddenly rolled to the left and the artificial gravity cut out. Everyone began tumbling around the interior, banging into things, and things began tumbling around the interior, banging into people and other things. In short, it got messy very quickly. A cup of scoffy was spinning in the air, spewing droplets of hot liquid all over the bridge equipment. Half-eaten food, articles of clothing, some skrells, and a hell of a lot of empty ale bottles, all moving slowly around the inside of the Disco Volante and crashing into each other and creating more bits of rubbish. It was a cascade failure, and soon the entire bridge and all other rooms that weren't sealed off would be thick with particles of refuse. Gork damn, I wish we had a cleaner, said Reed Chorley as he cartwheeled helplessly past Bodega and straight out into the kitchen area, followed by a hearty crash. Nebish, what the farvis? Bodega began, before being cut off by a huge impact that sent the ship rolling again. If I get interrupted one more time, I'm going to lose my shit, said Bodega, drawing his lasgun pointlessly as he nosedived into the engineering room, the lasgun flying out of his hand and disappearing into a vent. There was a high-pitched shriek, and then the ship's internal tannoy system crackled into life. Hello, Bodega, mein Freund, said a voice that sent a chill down the spines of decent people everywhere. Arm everything! Fire everything! Shouted Bodega towards the bridge, but everyone was spinning too wildly or being struck by too much garbage to do anything. Yeah, it's too late, we already have boarding of you now, said the voice, and with a brutal skunk sound, the ship was suddenly still, and the artificial gravity returned to normal. Everyone crashed to the ground and was showered in previously floating garbage. A carve beam began cutting through the hull in the cargo bay with a shower of sparks and a terrible tearing sound. Get to your battle stations, shouted Bodega, flipping a sofa over and taking cover behind it. The cut piece of hull crashed to the deck, and loud classical music began playing. A small red carpet rolled out from the hole in the hull, and an even smaller robot rolled down it, dropping rose petals behind it as it went. Presenting Tan Blatchman, shouted the tannoy, and there on the Disco Volante was Tan Blatchman, prancing down the red carpet, waving to an invisible crowd, flexing his muscles, and wearing the gawk-damn idiotic yellow jumpsuit and, worst of all, that cape of his. Tan, take a good look around. These are your last moments, shouted Bodega, preparing to throw a void grenade. Hold your horses, my little cowboy chum. I have some bad news, yeah. I don't want to be in this messy piece of scrub ship any more than you are being vaunting me here. What is it called anyway? The Dico Vomitanti? That's incorrect, said Varu, and also lame. Well, duh, shouted Tan, before planting his thumbs into his belt loops and standing with his legs improbably far apart, right in the middle of Bodega's lounge. Don't you ever clean this place? And where is the workout area? State your case and then get out, said Bodega from behind the sofa. They took her, said Tan meekly. Who took Majesta? Shouted Bodega. Why are you shouting? I can hear you fine. She was taken, I think, by some baddies, pirates or something, said Tan, casting his eyes around the trashed interior of the ship. Bodega stood slowly, still standing behind the overturned couch. Why did you attack us? Asked Nebish, his hair matted against his face and his glasses cracked. It's just more, dramatic and so on, said Tan casually. I have my audience to think about. What audience? Asked Bodega, gesturing around. This one, said Tan, pointing at the tiny camera droid hovering at his shoulder. Are you broadcasting right now? Said Bodega. Yeah, of course, this is gold, you booby, shouted Tan. Bodega's blood ran cold. Not only had this galaxy-sized anus found them, he'd also given away their position to anyone with a darn TV. And he'd lost Majesta. And he's messed up the ship in a big way. And in fact, he'd sullied it, its wholly interior, with his filthy presence. Tan, said Bodega, trying to remain calm, walking slowly towards the absolute moron, posing and pouting in the middle of his ship. Tan, Bodega kept repeating. Bodega was normally a very visibly angry man on occasions such as these, but Blatchman had actually pushed him into an emotional state so extreme, so powerful, that his body lacked the correct gestures or expressions to match it. When he got within 6 feet of Tan Blatchman, Bodega said, Tan, one more time, barely audible, then blacked out and face planted at his feet, prone and unconscious. The ship was quiet for a moment. Tan raised his arms in outrage. Yo, can I get a scoffy or what? The end. That's it.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, what a ride.
It's going to be to be continued, I guess.
Well,
What a thrill ride.
it's just stupid.
Oh my
I just
God,
love
that was
Tam
great.
Blatchman. I don't know why. I think he might have to join the crew.
I think he'd make a great addition to the crew.
You need some tension. I've been thinking too many of the characters are friends of Bodega.
That's it. A bit of tension, but also he's a very
Interesting.
loud character.
I like
as
him a
well.
lot, actually.
Yeah, me
I like
too.
him a lot. Yeah, I think you've done well.
We'll see.
He's evil.
We'll see
but,
how the
like,
public responds to this
Yeah.
colossal.
I thought it was good, man. I thought it was still a really good one.
I thought it was
Like,
excellent.
Too many of the recent episodes have been like high concept. I just wanted one where dumb shit happened.
Yeah.
And this was a very
Like a bridging
dumb
episode.
Very dumb episode. You need some of those.
Like this is like your Empire Strikes Back.
Hey, what?
What?
Are you implying that was just a bridging episode? That was the best one.
It was the best one, but it was a bridging episode.
It's not a bridging episode. The bridging episode would imply that it was
there's
just
a lot of
setting
there
things
was a
up and
lot
that's
of-
it.
There was a couple of things resolved and then a couple of things left hanging, which is like, pretty typical bridging episode.
I always think of it.
I'm not saying it was just a bridging episode. I'm saying it's the best fucking bridging episode of all fucking time.
I just feel like the term bridging episode makes out that it's just like, that you get those episodes in like a long running drama where nothing really happens. They just move from point A to point B. And it's just like, you could forget that episode in a heartbeat. Like there's no standout moments or anything like that. The Empire Strikes Back was not that, I don't think.
I don't know. There's parts of it that were, I guess there was some pretty big moments in it too, like Luke finding out that
Spoilers.
Darth Vader's father getting his hand chopped. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it, obviously stop listening now.
I know a lot of
But,
people that haven't ever seen the Star Wars movies.
Really?
Yeah.